inspected them again last week. The deficiencies not only hadn't been addressed, they were in much worse condition, so the bridges had to be closed. It's the county that is responsible then for closing the bridges. If the bridges aren't closed, the county would lose all federal transportation dollars. So then we are basically put on hold on the replacement. So that's why the bridges had to be closed. It's because of the deteriorated condition. And so we did not hinder the federal transportation dollars coming into the community. With that, we went out and met with the railroad on site today to see what can be done to get these bridges back open again. And on the South Blanchard Road Bridge, there's a couple vertical columns that are actually leaning in towards the railroad tracks from the west abutment. They're leaning in. It's not a good condition. And the bottom pier on the south side of the bridge, on that side, is rotted through. There is on the west abutment, where it ties onto the ground, it's rotating, meaning the whole bridge is rotating in towards the railroad tracks on the western side. On the eastern side, there was erosion on that abutment, and that abutment is just sitting on the dirt. So once it's eroded out, basically there's nothing holding up parts of the eastern abutment there. There is nothing that the railroad can do to get that bridge back open to traffic. The good news is we are going forward with the construction project. It will go to construction next month, and you will see a new bridge by next fall. The problem, one of the issues with that is with the construction of the new bridge, the old bridge was going to have to be out of service anyway. There's some water lines and sewer lines on storm sewer, just collecting the rainwater on the eastern side of the bridge and the eastern abutment where it ties down to the road. That bridge structure is tying in very closely to the existing bridge, so it was going to have to be closed when we went to construction anyway. And with going to construction next month, the railroad could not get that one back open. At the South Delaney Bridge, we told them that that project there, we are just working to buy the property right now needed for that project. We've requested the funds. We should be out there starting doing appraisal work in the next month or two and start buying property this spring. That project, we will be making a connector road between South Delaney and North Blanchard Road. That project should go to construction next fall, and it will take at least a year to get that connector road built. The railroad thinks they can get that bridge back open because it's winter time and you have to get materials in. They think the worst case scenario is they can get that bridge back open in 6 months. Hopefully it'll be quicker than that, but they couldn't commit to that with having to get the materials in, and be able to do the work in the middle of winter.
4 years
So
since they could build those bridges.
that's where we stand on those bridges. One thing, once that bridge is reopened, it will only be reopened as a 3-ton bridge, which all of the bridges through there have been posted for 3 tons for many years now. A 3-ton bridge cannot handle anything more than an F-150. So anything more than an F-150 is overweight for that bridge. If it's reopened at 3 tons, we need a commitment from the county that they will enforce that 3-ton weight limit more than it has been in the past. Because that was one of the things that we think is leading to a lot of the deterioration on those bridges, is there's been a lot of traffic on those bridges that are over the 3-ton weight limit. And like I said, we did get the railroad to commit to getting the South Delaney Bridge open, but it will be at the 3-ton weight limit still. And like I said, we're working everything we can do to accelerate the replacement of the South Blanchard Bridge and the connection between South Delaney and North Blanchard. And with that, do we stay and ask questions from the citizens?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, stand and give your name, please.
My name's Greg Frank. Who's responsible for the cost of the infrastructure? It's my understanding, if you're speaking to NS, they're supposed to be paying for the bridge. Is that not true? Is it the DOT responsibility? Because this deterioration didn't happen overnight. This has been going on for years.
The bridge repairs are the railroad's responsibility. That is, yes, they own the bridges. They are supposed to be maintaining the bridges, and
They did.
yes, but like I said, we can't go back in time. That's one thing we can't do. And yes, but it is their responsibility to maintain those bridges.
Okay, so we have a situation with water levels down in the lower part trying to get in and out. A lot of the people here are elderly. We have a situation where we can't get EMS to help those people. Who's going to be responsible for that?
Well, the bridges have had a 3-ton weight limit for many years now.
Ours just went that way.
No.
And just
No, I know that for a fact. Those have been 3-ton weight limits. The South Blanchard was up to 7 4 years ago, and that was taken down to 3 4 years ago.
Please stand.
But to his earlier point, it's just not been enforced as the 3-ton limit, even though according to the data that they had shared with me, it's been that way for several years as far as the 3-ton weight restriction. One comment that I wanted to make, just because I know it's going to come, as to the inspection letters that are sent that go to the Norfolk Southern Railroad and the county on copy. I have asked for a copy of that, and District 6 has indicated that standard protocol is the inspections go to the railroad and it's the judge executive that's copied. And I've asked for a copy of that just so that we could have had this type of input even earlier before it got to this point. And I don't have a crystal ball, so I didn't know to be asking for it. I've asked Ms. Conrad if she's seen a copy of it. I've asked our road department supervisor, Mr. Tatum, and he wasn't aware of this inspection 3 months ago as far as the results of it. I think we all know, especially you citizens that have contacted me in the past to have the bridge inspected and what's going on. As Mike indicated, this bridge and the other bridges have been having a 3-month touch point, but as far as the results of the inspection, I've never seen one as your magistrate, but protocol is that the county, which a copy goes to the judge executive, and I'm not sure, is that sent by email, Mike, or is that through?
Certified letter.
So,
I was gonna, you have an email.
I
I
just checked my email before tonight's meeting, so I didn't.
well, I apologize, I sent it Jocelyn. I went through the files today. I found that June 2018 inspection.
Okay. So,
So I have it in my office.
because I asked for it, because I wanted to see what did it say, when was it sent, who was it sent to, because it's not been cascaded down to the road department or myself as your magistrate, and frankly, I'm embarrassed over that. I had no idea to even be asking for that.
Okay, Mr. Coleman, please stand.
Are there other companies that can bid on repairing these bridges that would maybe do it faster?
The repair work has to be done by the railroad. The issue is it's such close proximity to the railroad tracks themselves. Another company could work on the bridge, like when we bid the new bridge out, we will bid it out to work on. With and we have to pay a railroad flagger. We have to pay him like $500 a day at least to sit there while because there's the railroad, and we've documented there's close to 25 rails go through there a day. The flagger has to be there whenever a contractor is on site. If the railroad is doing the work themselves, then they obviously don't have to pay the flagger themselves. So other companies can work on railroad right-of-way. It's just it's extremely expensive because of the facts. and since it is their structure, you really get into a legal ease, working on someone else's structure. So it's not, the issue is, it's getting the materials, because it's a wood structure. They need one piece of wood that's 20 feet long, 12 inches by 12 inches for the vertical on the South Delaney. There was another one that was, I think it was 6 by 12 that was 20 feet long. And there was another one that they're thinking they can salvage. I don't know the exact dimensions on that one. But there was 3 rotten major pieces of wood. Getting those pieces of wood in and being able to work on the bridge due to the weather is the constraint. Ideally, they thought they might be able to get it done in the next 2 months. But due to the weather, they could not commit to a 2-month timeline on that.
Mike, I also wanted to add, is there any employee or representative here from GSI tonight? The railroad, I've learned this weekend because I became even further educated about this topic. The railroad has what they call an MSA, a Master Service Agreement with GSI, which is local, of which is one of the providers that has had the opportunity to fix some of our county roads when we've had emergency situations. And apparently we've got citizens that live in Grant County that work for GSI that saw our lovely Facebook post about this situation, and they will also be contacting the railroad to see if on behalf of the citizens and just as a company doing the right thing, if there could be some type of expedited process that they could serve as someone that the railroad would authorize for them to work with, because they have this master service agreement already in place. And so the reality is I think there are some companies that have been seeing this through social media. Yes?
GSI is only going to do the geostabilization such as the erosion. They will have nothing to do with the bridges.
Okay, well, I just, whoever Justin is with them, and they have been talking, and they had just said that they would also help in any way that they could. To your point, Les, I'm not sure what that looks like, but they have contacts at the railroad and do some work for them. And not that they would be the ones to fix all of it, so, correct.
State your name, please.
I'm Elbert Cook Jr. First thing I want to bring out, I don't think your mic's turned on this mic or this speaker over, because we can't hear half what you're saying through the speaker. It ain't coming through at all. I believe this bridge is, especially the bridge on Blanchard Road, is stouter than people think. I personally, numerous times, seen a water trucks going across there with 1,600-gallon tank of water and don't have no problem at all. Basically, I think the bridge is stouter than what people think. I done construction work for 30-some years, trying to pull bars down that people thought was going to get ready to fall, and it was hard to pull down with a tractor, truck, or whatever. They're stouter than what people think. Okay, as far as you're saying, new bridge, we've been promised a new bridge for the last 5 years, and we ain't about to hold our breath until the bridge is built, because I think we ought to be dying. What we need right now is repair the bridges. 2 months, whatever, 3 months down the road, we need that bridge repaired to get us in and out. There's a lot of insurance. We're going to have a meeting with Farm Bureau the 11th of the month at 6:30 here in Grant County. If we don't get anything accomplished, we're going to get it to State Farm Bureau. State Farm Bureau's got a big pull in the state. And if we can get it done, we're going to get it done. But anyway, there's a lot at stake. It's an insurance problem. Although it's health. 5-10 minutes make a whole lot of difference on a person having a heart attack. I personally live within 1.5 miles of the firehouse. Now it's 10 mile, 10 to 11 mile. And everybody here on the Broad Road, Delaney Road, and even part of Baker and Williams, going a long way around with the fire department on Safer Broad Road and Delaney Road. If the creek's up, they're landlocked, they're locked in. No fire protection, no ambulance or nothing. Same way if the Cordova Crook Creek gets flooded, Williamstown's gonna have to come in 36 or it's a bad thing. What we need right now, sir, is to repair that bridge and worry about putting that new bridge in later on. We'll be satisfied with repairing the old bridge to where it's passable. Thank you.
Thank you, Junior.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Donwood, and I'm right there by the South End Blanchard Bridge. You, sir, was talking before about we're not able to do the repairs. My husband went down on the tracks the other day and took pictures of the undercarriage of that bridge. And what you do say about the thing bowing out is true. I've got a picture of it, and it shows nothing but the big pillar coming down and is bowed out, and I understand that. You're saying that the bridge cannot be repaired due to having to get this big piece of wood. Last year, that bridge was shut down, I'm not sure how long, where they went in with steel structures and for supporting that bridge underneath. We've got pictures of that steel structure. Why can they not use a steel
The
beam,
abutments are eroded.
which is probably more valuable than getting that big piece of wood to support that bridge and replace that structure? Now, you were saying when they was in there last year and put all these steel supports in there, they had to have known everything was deteriorating. Okay, why is it now that they're shutting the bridge down and not doing nothing about it? Okay, something don't deteriorate just overnight. Okay, it's been deteriorating for years. I've put up with it, that bridge being shut down at least 5 times since I've lived there. And I'm sure other residents that have lived in Corinth or on Blanchard, Baker Williams, longer than I have put up with it longer. Okay, they can fix that bridge, okay, to where we can use it until that new bridge is put in. Okay, I've seen them, I've seen the steel structures they put in replacement. They can do it again. Thank you.
The issue.
Hey, go ahead, sir.
Look, the issue there is, yes, we seen all the steel that was there. The contractor that actually did the steel work, he was the one that was inspecting it with the railroad with us today, and the railroad representative was there. The problem is, because you see how that large pillar is bowing. With that thing bowing, what's actually happening is the abutment where the bridge ties into the ground is rotating, which means it's got voids underneath of it on that side. And on the other side, there's an erosion problem, and the dirt and soil is eroding from underneath the abutment. And
That's scary.
that's the problem to get it all fixed, is if you tried to fix all of that, it would take probably 6 months again. In 6 months, we're going to be under construction with the new bridge. And once the new bridge construction starts, the existing bridge will be closed anyway.
Why didn't you all knew and seen that the stuff was deteriorating like it was back then? I mean, this was a year ago.
We shut it down in the summer.
Yes.
Well, and on these wood structures, which there's still a few in this area, the wood structures can go from okay to bad instantly. It's because the wood is rotting from the inside out. So when you're doing an inspection or hitting it, we have a steel rod that you hit it and do soundings of it. And if it sounds good, okay, it sounds okay. Next time you go through, the steel rod goes all the way through because it's been rotting from the inside out. And so that's why it can go from not being too good to being closed through one inspection. Because as the rot is coming from the inside of the wood out, you can't see it until it's really too late. And like I said, that's why we did have a bad report back in June that we gave to the railroad. It wasn't bad enough to close it at that time, but
It's only gonna get worse.
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yes, ma'am.
Joanne Gillies, and I live on Blanchard Road. I've been there about 25 years. So I've seen both bridges open and close, putting on wood structures on the outside of the bridge, not underneath of it. My question is, if they put in the new bridge with a 3,000-pound limit, how is the bus gonna
the new bridge will be a new concrete structure that'll be entirely,
No weight
no
restriction.
weight restrictions on it.
But if it takes how many years to put that in?
That should be open by next fall. Like I said, we got the plans in, we've purchased all the property out there we need. We've tore down the one house that we needed to tear down to move it. We've got water line plans ready. Everything's ready for that project, so we should be going
My
to construction
second
next month.
question is on the roads, on Blanchard Road, I mean, like she said, every 6 months or so, it drops 2-3 inches. 330 is now, you got a stoplight on 330, so if the ambulance had to go all the way around from the firehouse, the fire guys are back here, from the firehouse, down 330, come up, like the Chapel, on the Baker Williams, and then on to Blanchard, pick somebody up in the middle of Blanchard Road and take them back. And if they get to when they get to 330, they gotta sit at a stoplight to wait before they get on the expressway to get them to a hospital.
And some of those, well, 330 is a highway, it's a state road, so that would be a question for them. But as far as, we've got various county roads that are underneath the request for a FEMA application. And frankly, maybe the silver lining in all of this for me is we have further established other contacts that may be able to help spur along the FEMA funding that this county has requested as of May, that the emergency management director that's sitting up here in the front has submitted an application. And because I've emailed every person I could feasibly think of, someone saw, oh, your county's also waiting on a FEMA response. Yes, we are. What is the status of that? Can you help us, Washington, D.C., since you have better connections with the railroad than we personally do? And so it looks like there may be some momentum coming on that as well, because my biggest fear as your representative, especially as the last bridge on Blanchard, closed on Thursday, and there's roughly 7 families that could technically be landlocked if where we have already patched one of the sections of the road that is now under the request of emergency funding from FEMA. If that patch doesn't hold until we get the funds from the federal government, then what? And so there's been a few contacts.
330 goes underwater.
Right, and 330 isn't our county piece, but we will most certainly continue to follow up with them at the state level. I'm not sure if the state has submitted probably for federal funding as well, but to recap that, I think the silver lining is I have made even more connections with folks to relay to Mr. Whalen because someone said, oh, well, we can help with that as well. So I said, yes, thank you, because we've been waiting and we've been unsuccessful at getting timely updates.
What about Fort Lick and TNR and all
Fort Lick,
those other little communities where the bus now has to go? I mean,
yeah, and the bus has been rerouted for the past almost probably 3 years because I rode the school bus to put a bird's eye view as to what that looks like when you have to go all the way around. And kids in this community have been getting up 30 and 40 minutes earlier in the morning and getting home 30 and 40 minutes later in the evening. And that's also the reason why these particular bridges were previously a part of the 6-year highway plan, and through continuous communication with the representatives at the state level, April 2018 is when the governor released his 2-year modified plan, which is what prompted these particular bridges to what I hope to be the final cut that they will indeed be a part of the 2-year modified plan. But to answer your question, one thing that this governing body, does have control over, and now that we do have some occupational tax that has generated additional revenue, is that we hope, in the next administration and ongoing, that we can further address some of our county roads, which frankly, we have not had the funding to do, folks. We just haven't. And that's the other reason why your road supervisor in the back on Friday, when I called him when these bridges were shut down, and I said, if we've got to approve it to pay overtime to get the grader out there, we have got to stay on top of these roads back here behind these bridges, because they're going to be traveled even more. And those folks sitting on the back road that are your county road department, they've been busting it. They really have. We have had an extremely tough spring and a wet summer. I mean, we have the wettest record on history as far as water and snowfall, and so they've been at it and they've been trying to stay on it. And so the grader's back there, and I know that they will continue to work to address that. And we just really haven't had Mother Nature on our side, and this county has not had the financial wealth on our side to address what we need to address. But I know that with the particular closures now, Mr. Tatum's back there, and he can attest to, he's probably tired of hearing from Jacqueline.
Jacqueline,
Yes.
me and Pat opened a envelope from Kentucky EM today. We will be getting the funds through. I'm going to verify everything tomorrow, but the projects that we did request have been approved. I just want to verify before I release any figures on that. But something you're going to have to understand, once they begin the repairs on Blanchard Road,
It's gonna be
there's
more.
temporary closures because
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna landlock us, because that slippage in the road is right past my driveway.
Well, and ma'am, that's as soon as I got the afternoon text on that Thursday, I thought, you've got to be kidding me. Where did this come from?
What are we
And-
supposed to do then? Because,
And that's why we have got to all come together, and thank you, Lord, for correspondence that came today from FEMA then, so that we can continue to make progress on getting that permanently fixed. But like Les said.
there are going to be some
there's-
issues once we start the repair. GSI is going to have to temporarily close that section while they're
And I
repairing the
tell you
slip.
what,